Today, in episode 83 of Real Occult, we are talking about one of my free community members asked me why I do multiple video calls in order to get them into the community. And I also do it with the people who are paying as well. We do multiple video calls to get them up and running as well when they're doing these deep dive packages. And the reason is because I used to, in the past, do a one-call reading. And so when you would schedule you on the booking thing, I would ask a couple questions. You would give me your information. You'd do a little thing on what problem you're having or what circumstances are trying to change. And I would prepare. We'd hop on the call. 45 minutes, and what ended up happening a majority of the time is the first 10 to 15 minutes was all me actually getting a better understanding of what it is. Gunner, come on, buddy. It's a bird. Oh, come on, bud. And so the first 10 to 15 minutes would be me getting a better understanding of what it is we're actually working with. What problem are we actually having? What are we willing and not willing to trade? Because everything requires a trade-off. So what parameters are we actually working within? And then I'm spending 5 minutes kind of adjusting, getting a better footing on, based on what I did prepare, what are we now going to share based on this new information? And so and then also because I use this multi-layered system where if something's only true in your numerology, but in your Western astrology, in your Vedic astrology, in your Chinese astrology, it's saying something completely different, I don't give that insight a lot of weight. However, if something's true in your numerology, it's true in your Vedic astrology, it's currently playing out in your middle layer of karma, your current layer of karma, in your current transits, it's true in your Chinese astrology as well. You have to go inside. All right, if you're going to keep barking, you guys go inside. And so for me, when you have something present across all of these different occult sciences, I like to put a lot of weight behind that particular insight. And so within that 45 minutes and that one call, there'd also be 10 minutes kind of explaining this and laying this out for what their particular energies were. And so when you do two, you could do a quick 50. It's going to be the same 45 minutes, but you can do a quick 15 where you get better insight into what's actually going on, what parameters are we working within. And then you can get that foundational understanding of, okay, this is your basic birth chart layout. These are the basic energies you're dealing with. These are the current transits. This is what's happening. This is what you can expect to happen over the next basically 9-year universal cycle, whatever's currently happening in this cycle. And here's your foundational numerology for how your energy is interacting with the environment around you. And so, bam, now we leave. The person on the receiving end gets to digest that information, so it's not information overload. I get to take that and go do a nice deep dive with clarity around what are we actually trying to gain insight around. Bam, we meet up for another 30-minute call, and we can actually make progress to where we can share insight, and now we can move into other areas, and now everything can flow smoothly and it's not an information overload. And so like I said, I do it this way for the free people joining the free community. I also do it for people joining paid in the 6-week deep dive, where it's 6 weeks of working one-on-one. The free community is everything's in a group environment. And so if you're interested in that, that is Skool, SKOOL.com/real occult. And so last thing before I wrap this up, I used to do that single reading, and you can give good insight. You can. I just personally believe when you are put on the spot and what you're doing when you're giving these readings is synthesizing all of this energy down into a tangible insight. When you're put on the spot, you're not able to refine that insight as much, which by definition makes it not as good because it's not going to be as cleanly communicated. Which means if the person on the receiving end of it is not skilled enough at a certain level, meaning they have the other skills required to apply the insight given, it's not as effective. It's by definition not as good. And so I like to be as precise and as accurate as possible. That's why I prefer the multi-call method. Hope you got something out of this. If you're interested, SKOOL.com/real occult. And I will talk to you again soon.